today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about liquid organic fertilizer. A lot of people, they don't even know kind of what they're looking for when they go looking for a liquid fertilizer, nonetheless a liquid organic fertilizer. Um, a liquid organic fertilizer should do two things. One, provide nutrition to the plant, but two, it should also provide nutrition to the biology that is on the plant. And then kind of an ancillary third is that you don't want that fertilizer to necessarily uh, feed, if you will, the bad biology, like a disease pathogen, because you can actually spark a disease pathogen to flourish and to do better. And so we don't want to do that. So we kind of actually want to rob those types of biological food substrates from disease causing pathogens. And if you flush a plant with too much fertility, as do some of the synthetic liquid fertilizers, and you can do, if you overuse an organic liquid fertilizer, you can flush too much fertility, then you'll get supple, excessive vegetative growth and piercing, sucking insects that like to suck on the saps of those plants will thrive then as well. So what you really want to do with a fertilizer, a liquid fertilizer in general, is you want to use it uh, judiciously, and you want to use an analysis of fertilizer that is low, so that you don't overjuice a plant, if you will. Like a 10-10-10, it's easy to overjuice a plant. And part of the problem with that is, let's say you're growing vegetables in a vegetable garden, and you just kind of keep using that well-known product out there that everybody used to buy anyway. And they would just spray it and they would just say, look how big my tomato plant is. Well, when you cause too much vegetative growth, meaning too many stems and leaves, you do so at the expense of not getting your fruit, because all the energy goes to the green leaves and the green stems, and then you don't get any of those nice tomatoes or very many of them. So again, a good liquid organic fertilizer is going to it's going to feed the good biology, hopefully not feed the bad biology like pathogens, and hopefully not cause too much growth. So it's going to be a low analysis product, as an example of a low analysis product, like a 503, okay, or a 303 right here, or in the example of a fish fertilizer, a 231, okay? And if I'm covering it, I apologize, a 231. So these are low numbers compared to a 10-10-10 or a 10-15-10 or a 20-20-20, blah, blah, blah. So you're looking for low analysis numbers, and then you now have to start saying, okay, well, what in that liquid organic fertilizer do I want? Fish, as an example, it's going to smell. So if you don't mind that, fish is a very good product. It has a shelf life. Most fish products can last 1.5 years on average once you've purchased it. And then it's going to start to go rank. Okay, it's just not going to smell great. Might even smell a little sewagey, but it is otherwise a very good product. And it has a lot of varied nutrition, just as you would think a fish would when you eat it. Okay, you're going to get some good aminos. You're going to get some trace elements, some macronutrients, some secondary macros, meaning calcium and whatnot. But you can have a nice array of nutrition. I have found that using fish, let's say you have a tomato plant and you have some late blight disease starting at the base of the tomato plant. I have found that the tomato plant if you keep using fish thinking you're going to outgrow the disease, the fish tends to feed the pathogen for late blight disease, so you actually can make it worse. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in the back of your head, because I've dealt with a lot of growers who have tried that approach and it ended up sinking their ship, so to speak. If we take the 503 and the 303, okay, the 503 has the exact same ingredients in it as this 303. For certified organic, you actually can't use the 503 because it's too high of a nitrogen content, unless you go through all sorts of steps to get your product allowed for organic through an inspection and all sorts of testing. Same ingredients, no different. The 503 is just 2 units of nitrogen higher than the 303. So if you want to just go strictly by the book for organic, then you would use the 303. Personally, I like the 503. It's not harming anything any more than the 303. It's actually just a little bit more nitrogen than potassium, and I like that balance. So what's important about those products? Those products are a little bit less full-bodied than the fish, but these products like the 503 and the 303, they don't smell at all. And they pack a good punch, so you need very little. So the 503, I could use that at 1 ounce in a gallon of spray solution or watering solution, and I would get a nice result. Now, what I'll do is to get the full bodied effect, we have a soluble powdered product called Nourish. And I would use a very small amount of that in a gallon of water, probably like a teaspoon or 2 in a gallon of spray solution. And that'll give you all the full body, your micronutrients, your trace elements, your plant growth hormones, biological food substrates, you name it. It's in there. It's a great product. And when you combine that Nourish powder, which I've done in other videos, I've talked about the Nourish, and you combine it with this 503 or 303, you can't lose. You just can't lose. Now, if for some reason you wanted to get the fish effect, you know, but without shipping a liquid and shipping liquid weight, then and having an indefinite shelf life, where with fish you do not have an indefinite shelf life, then instead of a liquid organic fertilizer, you can actually go to something like this, which is called Encourage. And we have an Encourage all natural, and we have an Encourage certified organic. And it's a soluble powder fertilizer. And that would give you a lot of what fish has in it. That said, I'll leave that conversation till we get to that product discussion. But just to show you that there is an alternative to a liquid organic fertilizer product. To kind of put a wrap on this liquid organic fertilizer discussion, if I were to give you like a bullet sheet or punch list of items to kind of consider when you are surfing the net and you're looking for something, what I would look for is, can the product be used at low rates and deliver results? So does it have a low analysis? Is it a product that has a number of different ingredients in it to give it a more full-bodied effect for the plant? I.e., am I only going to eat a steak today, or am I going to eat a steak with Brussels sprouts, asparagus, a little bit of applesauce, glass of milk, cup of wine, you know, good diversity. You know, when you get that full meal that has a lot of, you know, your complex carbohydrates, your vegetables and whatnot, your proteins, all that, something that's full bodied like that, that's a good product. And something that you don't need to use a lot of to get the result. You don't want to push too much nitrogen. That's like why we like those numbers that are 5% nitrogen and lower. And I would look for something that has, personally, shelf life. The 303 and the 503 these have indefinite shelf lives. It's a liquid, but it has an indefinite shelf life. It's not going to go bad. Okay. Um, and the other thing about a liquid organic fertilizer that you want to keep in the back of your head is that you don't want something that is going to constantly be precipitating out of solution or out of suspension. Because if you look at products, if you have to shake them all the time, and that's another thing with fish, the oils can separate from the solids. Um, and so just make sure you shake the fish. But if you're having to shake it all the time because stuff is settling to the bottom, that's not necessarily helping you that much. So it depends on how quickly the suspended materials precipitate out of suspension or out of solution. If it does it really fast, then you're not going to want to have that in your sprayer, because you'll be spraying concentrated stuff at the end, all from the bottom of the tank, and you'll have stuff that's not concentrated enough at other times when you're spraying. So those are probably the things that I would look at. And I apologize because this is actually kind of a wonky subject for me. But I would just basically look at simple products. If it's a liquid organic fertilizer, something like the fish, okay, and or something like 503. And I'll be honest with you, I actually like to do both of these together. If you tank mix with both of these together, it's actually great because you get the best of all worlds. If you want to use convenient liquids that you can just kind of pour and go, you put these two together and it's going to be a smoking good result. It really will. All right. So that's the beginning of that discussion. And we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for joining us. And I hope that you see some of our other videos.